LeBron James tonight, his 116th, which is number one.
He'll take a three. LeBron James will hit a three.
Wow.
Oh, how about it? LeBron James pulling out all the daggers here in the fourth quarter. A triple-double.
Woo, woo. Elgin Baylor on the Twitter, triple-double and a closer on to the NBA Finals. The legendary Hall of Famer and one-time Laker great, Elgin Baylor, chiming in on Twitter. NBA fans, what's good? You are now rocking with the best. Welcome to Playoff Central Live, all brought to you by AT&T 5G. Ro Parrish here in Studio B, and we just witnessed the Lakers take care of business led by LeBron James as they advance to the NBA Finals. But I'm not just going to sit up here and talk about myself. I got to welcome in Dennis Scott, Mr. Leave it! Watching the Lakers handle their business. Listen, LeBron James was spectacular. Triple-double. We know the numbers that he put up. But down the stretch, those 9 straight buckets, his swagger was on 100,000 trillion. Witnessing this, and I use witnessing on purpose because we know how that's associated with LeBron. Just watching him during that last stretch, what stood out to you?
Well, his leadership and understanding that outside of Rondo, no one has really been where he is in a closeout conference final. So down the stretch, you saw him say, AD, thank you for those big block shots. AD, thank you for that big three-pointer at the end of the half, or end of the quarter it was. So it's time for me to take over this ball game at the end, take the life out of the Denver Nuggets, not give them any room to feel like they can continue this series. So LeBron James, for all the people that may not believe in what he's doing and what he's done throughout his career, he has silenced a lot of critics tonight by closing out the Denver Nuggets, knowing this young team was battling, clawing, fighting, doing everything they could to try to stay alive tonight. But not tonight. The king prevails. Round
of applause for the Denver Nuggets. We're going to touch on them momentarily, but just going back to these Lakers, this is the 32nd time they will appear in the NBA Finals. This is LeBron's 10th trip to the NBA Finals, looking to capture his 4th NBA championship ring. So that's amazing. Plenty of love for LeBron. You see it. Look at the numbers. Finals appearances, the most in NBA history. The king, the great Bill Russell. One-time teammate Sam Jones. The cap is right there underneath them, and LeBron has now entered that circle. 3D, you see that, and what is your reaction?
I just shake my head because I know basketball people in the Twitter world and social media, they go back and forth on who's the best, who's the greatest, who's done it the most. Those numbers right there show you consistency that 10 out of his 17 years, he has been to the promised land and given his franchise a chance to win that, Larry O'Brien trophy and put a ring on your finger. So debate continues. I'm just happy for LeBron that he's been able to quiet the naysayers. And let's face it, AD came on the way. All the pieces they put together. Rob Pelinka has been a great GM in putting the right puzzle to this piece together. And here he is again, LeBron James, trying to win another ring for his legacy and also for the Laker Nation.
You spoke about AD. He was impressive. You talked about that three-pointer that he hit right before the fourth quarter. The score was tied. Denver was making a run. He comes up big, knocks down a three. Played big throughout this whole series. The Kobe moment, knocking down the clutch three-pointer in Game 2. 27 tonight, averaged over 30 in the conference finals. The first time that he's really been on this stage since he exited New Orleans. What are your thoughts on AD's overall performance in this game here?
But believe it or not, Ro, the big block shot to me reminded me who he really is, who he was coming out of Kentucky in the championship game in Kentucky. Remember, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well. It was his defense on why they won the championship. So that big block on Michael Porter Jr. lets me know that AD reverted back to who he really is, to his roots. That is one of the best defensive player, if not the best defensive player in our game. Making plays like that, of course, giving LeBron James the opportunity to close out the ball game. AD's on the way.
The Lakers with 8 block shots. You talk about that block that he had on Michael Porter Jr. Excellent at protecting the rim. Looking forward, obviously you have 2 teams in the Eastern Conference still undecided who's going to be their opponent. Does it really matter, though? I mean, I hate to say this. We all love to see competitive basketball, but is it the Lakers championship to lose at this point?
Yeah, I like that question. I know a lot of people are going to debate about it the next couple of days until the Celtics and the Miami Heat finish their battle. But if AD plays the way he does, or should I say the way he did tonight, there's nobody on neither team that can handle him. And, of course, LeBron just showed you once again in year 17, he still can hit that switch and finish out a series for his ball club. So as long as they stay healthy, as long as they continue to play the defense they showed us tonight to slow down the Nuggets, Laker fans, Laker Nation, get ready and support this team to get over the hump. But once again, Ro, one game at a time. Let the Lakers enjoy the night. Let's see what happens in the Eastern Conference.
Lakers players to average 30 or more on 50% shooting in the conference final: James Worthy, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe, Kareem, and Anthony Davis. Ooh. Great company right there. Your former teammate, Big Diesel. Great company, and he's making his name put up there in those Tinseltown lights. He fits in perfectly with these Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, he really does, Ro. And those numbers speak for themselves. And all the great Lakers that ever put on those uniforms, they know when you step on the floor, you got to play at a high level all the time, because you're not just playing for the first or second rounds of the playoff. You're playing for the trophy. So to see AD step up, follow LeBron's lead, LeBron giving him room all season long to be who he wanted to be and who he needed to be to get to this point, it's been a perfect story so far. Can these guys finish it all?
Well, the Lakers finished off the Nuggets. It wasn't a perfect story for the Denver Nuggets. Their time in the bubble came to an end. They entered this game 6-0 in these elimination games, but it all ran out. We hear from the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, Mike Malone.
How proud are you? Oh, so proud. You know, what more could you ask from a group? You know, what more commitment, sacrifice, just everything in the last 82 days that our team has gone through, the history that we've made, the adversity that we've faced and never ran from, embraced it, owned it at times. So it's, from a pride perspective, couldn't be more proud. You know, my message to our guys is, remember this feeling. You know, last year, Game 7 against Portland, you know, use that as motivation. I think all great teams and champions have to go through the pains of losing. And nothing is handed to you in this business. And we're making steps. We're moving in the right direction with a great group of guys. I wouldn't want to be with any other group. I love our team, I really do. So proud. Came up a little short, obviously. Give a lot of credit. You know, have to give the Lakers a ton of credit. You know, Frank Vogel and their staff did an amazing job. All their players, and you know, my relationship with LeBron. He took over like great players take over in games like this. So you tip your cap, you give them credit, and we use this as motivation to come back even better and not be satisfied with making the Western Conference Finals. Our goal still remains to win a championship.
Next we'll go to Katie Wingy. Katie, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, with all that being said, what encourages you most about what this team did and where this team can go from here?
What encourages me most is how young we are. You know, what encourages me most is the fact that we have drafted and built this team from method. We have young players that are growing up and continue to amaze. And what also encourages me, Katie, is when you can stare at defeat and elimination 6 straight games and find a way to advance. The only team in history to ever do that. And, you know, this matchup, you know, they beat us 4-1. They're a really good team. They're in the NBA Finals for a reason. But I think this series was a hell of a lot closer than the 4-1 would indicate. No silver lining, but I'm encouraged by the growth, the maturity, and development of all of our players. And our young guys are only going to get better, which is really exciting if you're a Denver Nugget fan.
Next, we'll go to Michael Rosenberg. Michael, go ahead.